Hello, I'm Jordana Borenstein and I want to share with you in this video why I am such an incredible public speaking trainer. That's right, you heard it from me, and why training with you would be so amazing. So I understand that it can be super scary to put yourself out there. Perhaps your public speaking nerves are stopping you from your next career move, or maybe the fear is limiting you from earning more money because you need to step into a leadership role that involves a lot of communication and expression. Or maybe, you've got an amazing idea to pitch, but you're so scared that someone is going to judge you, or you've got imposter syndrome and you don't think you're the right person to do it. Whatever it is, I want to work through that with you and break through that, because we all have incredible messages to share. So I want to just explain to you how I actually got to this point right now, because it's so easy to look at someone and go, oh gosh, it's so easy for them. They can just present on camera or they can just present on stage. But honestly, we've all had our own journey, and I bring a level of humor and joy and I reckon the most varied stage experiences into what I'm actually teaching, which is what makes it so fun and so joyful, and it resonates and it lands because I've been there. Trust me, I have been there. So I kicked off my career as a journalist at the Herald Sun, which is the News Corp Victorian newspaper, which was really fun. And then I went to New York because I fell in love with music journalism, and I was doing like copywriting during the day, and I was doing music journalism and photography at night times and on weekends, which was incredible because I interviewed amazing bands. And then I came back and I got a job at Nova radio station, where Hughesy and Kate, who are my favorite two radio breakfast duo ever, they were working, and I was online music curator, which was a strange title, which then turned into national online music editor. I was also social media manager because everyone in the online department was. And then I also got to work with Hughesy and Kate doing their content for their breakfast show. So that was like amazing. During this same period of time, I went out on a really bad date, like really, really bad, like painfully bad. So much so that it pushed me into a career in comedy. As they say, every cloud has a silver lining. This silver lining turned out to be a golden lining. So I started to learn about comedy method and comedy theory, and I was like, hang on, this is so therapeutic. So I started to do some sets, and I was doing like 5 minute, 5 minute, 5 minute, 5 minute. And then literally like a year later, I was like, hang on a second, I've got so much material because I'm writing so much that I'm just going to go and do a 55-minute comedy festival show. So I literally went from 7 minutes to a 55-minute solo show in the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. 2013, my first show was called Social Media, the Epidemic. And then the next year, my show was called Like Me, Love Me, Retweet Me. And I loved, obviously, social media was my bag. Then I left Nova because I wanted to become a keynote speaker, and I wanted to also just do more social media consulting. At that time, I actually wrote my first one of 3 books called Capture My Attention: How to Stand Out Online with Creative Content. Covers voice, visuals, storytelling, creative inspiration. It is absolute gold. That was lots of fun. And then around the same time, I got a call from an agent, you know who you are, saying, hey, we hear that you do comedy on social media. We're looking for a corporate comedy set for 20 minutes. Is that you? And I was like, yes, that's me, which was amazing because that was my entry into the corporate industry. So then that evolved into keynote presentations. And so I started with 1 keynote, and then 1 turned into 2, turned into 3. And ultimately they've all been about communication, connections, expression. Like, that's basically been the overarching theme, whether it's been social media or connection across the generations. Now I obviously talk about completely different stuff, but it's always been about communication, connection, and laughter, using laughter and using what I learned in stand-up comedy to bring it into the corporate space. Because if we're learning while we're laughing, we're enjoying the experience much more. I will say, by the way, just want to say one thing, that when I actually was doing stand-up, I fell a lot. I picked myself up. I picked myself up. I didn't know how to breathe for the first 5 years of my comedy career. And I also used to get such a mental blank that I would freeze. I remember I was doing this set in New York. It was 2011 and it was 5 minutes, and I learned everything by rote learning at that point, which was terrible. I would not recommend it. And I had bullet points on my hand, and I said my first joke, and then I froze. I forgot everything. I had a complete disconnect, and I was like looking, and I'm like a deer in headlights, and I looked down at my hands, and there's a giant smudge mark because I was sweating because I was so nervous, and I was like, what am I gonna do? So basically what I'm trying to say is I've been there, I've been through it all. In fact, comedy was the best grounding for everything in speaking, because there is nothing that phases me. If there's a tech stuff up, if the lights go out, if there is a corporate heckler, it doesn't matter what happens, nothing phases me because the highs are so high and the lows are so low in comedy that if you can get through stand-up comedy, you can get through absolutely everything. So where was I? Keynotes, yes. So I was doing keynotes for a couple of years and then I started to do MCing, which was really fun because I was able to bring comedy and humor and storytelling into MCing. And then I wrote this book, which is called 21 Steps to Become an Awesome Public Speaker, which is the cutest little thing in the world. So cute, so cute. And it's like a little pocket book and you basically open it up to any page and it has a little tip and inspiration for when you're about to go and present. So this little baby I wrote a couple of years ago and I love it. I love it. I love it. And then it to come. But basically we're in lockdowns, many lockdowns. I live in Melbourne where we had more lockdowns than anywhere else in the world. So when it reached lockdown number 7,599, I'd maxed out my crafting capacity. Legitimately, I did speed dating on Zoom. I created octopuses from toilet paper rolls. I was making birds out of the top of tissue paper boxes. Everything was covered in glitter. So at the time I was doing a group training with my favorite teacher, Sonia Choquette. And the challenge was try something new and be a beginner. And I'm like, what else can I do? I was already a beginner chef, a beginner painter, and a failed online speed dater. So I was like, I wonder what else is even possible. So I chose the impossible, magic, which seems so far out of my reach and even harder to do without an audience during a pandemic and behind a screen. And lo and behold, when I began, magic actually happened. It was incredible. I learned how to make a crayon disappear. I learned how to make ice cubes disappear and I learned how to use magic to connect with people in brand new ways. And it totally rocked my world because it just taught me how to disconnect from the external world and find a space that was so joyful and so playful and so incredible that I actually became limitless. And I'll be talking about this a little bit more later in a different series that I am launching on how magic has totally transformed my world. Separate topic. While I was actually in this magical mindset, I created this, which is probably my greatest creation ever, and it's called You Are the Magic. And it is filled with rhymes and poems about the most important lessons that we learn, that we know when we're young, but then we forget as we grow older. So self-love, unity, creativity, the power of our imagination. So it's the most gorgeous illustrated children's book and it is so cute and I absolutely love it. And it's because when I discovered magic, I was like, hang on a second, I am limitless. I can do anything in this state. And it was such a joyous discovery that I was like, this is gold, this is incredible. So I want to actually take this into corporate and bring this level of joy and this play into the corporate sphere. So now I do magic in my keynote presentations. I bring magic into my MC roles and it is absolutely incredible. So that pretty much gets us up to speed. I do love props, so I also do have these. And I also do have these, which I do use. If you have done training with me, you will know that I use gold and silver microphones. So all of those experiences I bring into public speaking and presentation skills training. So I guarantee you that no one else on the planet has done it. To learn what I've learned about the stage, how to read the audience, how to engage, how to interact, how to use your body language for expression, how to change the tonality in your voice, facial expressions, how to actually be authentic in our message, how to make sure that we're actually being super present and we're not externally focused, because often a big mistake that we make is I'm so worried, I need to be good, I want my content to be great, that we're focused just on us, and it's never about us. It's always about who we're actually presenting for and the message we're actually trying to share. So I bring lessons from every single part that I've learned, from journalism, from keynotes, from MCing, from comedy, from magic, from connecting with people, into the training to be able to fast track your journey so that you don't have to go through what I went through, because I fell and I picked myself up, and I fell and I picked myself up, and I fell and I picked myself up so many times that I don't want you to do that. So I want to help you get there really quickly. So I share basically the best lessons and the best insight from the last 13-ish years, and I would love to work with you. So I do offer coaching and training, and I am currently creating an amazing online course, which is going to be out super soon. So if you are watching this on Instagram, drop me a DM. I would love to share more information with you. If you're watching on LinkedIn, please send me a message. I would love to share more information with you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please drop me a comment. I would love to connect with you. So thanks for watching. And if you want really fun, joyful, amazing, inspiring, delightful, hilarious training with someone who totally gets it, because I've been where you're at, I hear you, I feel you, and thanks for watching.